Hello, it's Dr. Brian, and welcome to the Pen Drop. This is video 6. Hopefully in the near future I have all these titles out there and I can just say the title of it instead of saying video 6, but I need a little bit of a marker so I can keep them straight. That's neither here nor there. So let's get to it. The title of this one is going to be The Problems with Published Authors. And I've read, when I first started writing, I started reading all these published authors and what's your take on writing? And some of them had some great ideas. Some of them really were awesome and it was worthwhile reading. Some of them was utter crap. And I'm going to tell you that. It was crap. I went to a couple conventions. I have met with published authors. I have paid for seminars. And we're going to talk all about that throughout this video series. But one thing I found is a lot of these people don't have a clue how they write. They just sit down, they start banging it out. I'm not saying they don't outliners to architects to gardeners. That's not what I'm talking about. But they write how they write. And that's it. Now, do they have an awesome editor that straightens them out? Possibly. Do they just get to a finished point? Possibly, and they're done. And it reminds me of Stephen King. And again, I love Stephen King. I've read Stephen King, but one of the comments he made in About Writing or On Writing, whichever the title is, I think it's On Writing. He wrote a piece. He thought it was garbage. He threw it in the trash. His wife comes along. She gets it. She reads it. Thinks it's awesome. Sends it to the editor. The editor reads it and says, cut 10%. It's an awesome book and we'll publish it. Stephen King didn't even know how good he was in the beginning. It took his wife. It took others to realize what he was doing. One of the problems I have with On Writing is the beginning sections about him basically drinking, doing drugs, arbitrarily writing this different stuff. Was it good? Wasn't it good? He didn't know. He was just telling stories. People loved his stories and they got to feed his beast until he's finally like, all right, I got to stop doing all these drugs and alcohol and got to get onto a better path in life. But he didn't recognize his own greatness. How are you going to teach your own greatness when you don't recognize it? And I'm just putting it out there. I'm just throwing it out there as an idea. Now, if Stephen King walked in here right now and said, look, I'm going to teach you 50 things about writing. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write everything out that this man is telling me because he's one of the most successful writers of all times. I'm just trying to point out that in the beginning, he didn't see his success. He did not see his success in the beginning. And it's okay. Like I said, I went to a convention and there was 10 writers, and they were all like 20-minute little blips about what was good or not. One writer literally talked about how did he develop his seed for story. And I wanted to walk up there and say, look, I don't need this. I can come up with stories. I can come up with stories from here to eternity. I can pick up a newspaper and find a story. I can go back through history and I can find a story. You're not giving me the help I need. The next person came up and was talking about show, don't tell. Very helpful. Really gave me some insight on what my own writing was and gave me 3 different things that I could do to correct the mistakes I was doing. This person hasn't sold a 1/10 of what the first person sold. The first person was a massive author. It was all about how he developed the seed. The second one, obscure. Probably has been on the bestseller list, but at the bottom of the bestseller list. The first guy was at the top. He had 2 different novels at the top of the bestseller list. And I'm not trying to mention names. I'm not trying to say that this guy was, they both are, they don't have jobs. They get to write on a day. So they're both successful. But the help I got as a beginning writer wasn't from the super successful person. Because I don't think they could describe it. It was from the person who was still just barely making it, but making it nonetheless. You're going to have to figure out what help you need. And then you've got to go dig and search and say, all right, I really need this stuff or I really need that. And there's nothing worse than paying 40, 50, 150 bucks to go sit through something and find out that all the information they're giving you is worthless. So that's what the Pen Drop is trying to give you those little tips and tricks before you have to go spend your hard-earned money. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have to spend money. And we're going to talk about money here in a couple videos down the road because it's a big deal. But you have a limited supply. Once you get published, right now, if we called up Stephen King and said, hey, you've got $10,000 to waste on the Boston Red Sox baseball tickets. He's probably like, man, I got 100,000, 200,000. What's the big deal? Let's just go watch a game. If you're a beginning writer, you don't have that kind of resource. You don't have that access. You got to get to the big things. But these published authors sometimes aren't giving you what you need. You got to be very selective. And that's what I'm talking about, is getting to that selective nature, figuring out what you need, and then putting it into best use for you. So the next video, I'm not sure what we're going to do it on. I think we're going to look at starting and stopping as a writer. We'll talk about that, and then we're going to hit into some time management and some goal setting stuff. So, hey, hit the Twitter, hit the affiliate stuff for me. Shoot us an email at the Pen Drop, and also give us a video back. What do you think about your published authors? Do you have one that you really follow? Has that person helped you or not? And then, hey, we'll see you in the next video.